So, welcome to the project that is forever going to be the Wilkinson Sword Survival Knife. Have to excuse me, I think everyone's got a cold at the moment, so everyone's a bit parky. This knife has been a passion of mine probably for the best part of 25 years. Not the actual physical knife that's here, but just the Wilkinson Sword Survival Knife anyway. I first saw one of these when I was in the army. I'd just finished junior leaders at Folkestone, and I used to travel quite a lot between the northeast and London, and there was a shop in Euston called Survival Aids. I splashed out about £200 on a sleeping bag there that was like fur lined and had zip holes you can pull your arms out of, but this knife was in a glass case, and it was pricey back then and unjustified as far as I could see. Me and my friends were very much in the line of the best military dagger you need is a Sykes and Fairbairn commando knife. Not that we were commandos, far from it, we were infantry, but this knife has always fascinated me. And when I did have the ability to buy one, they weren't available. They disappeared off the market completely. And obviously later found out that they just kind of like stopped making them. Anyway, fast forward, always collected knives, got lots of different arcade knives. Even things that still fascinate me. Always wanted a butterfly knife from Battle Orders. Obviously they're illegal now, can't get them, so I thought the next best thing is to get the Bocker comb from Heine. Not getting paid by Heine, by the way, or anything, just to mention, because they're probably one of the better knife shops out there. It's the comb, but yeah, the function's still the same. You can play with it and flick it open. Pretend to be American Ninja, right? Happy days. Right, this knife, I managed to find out where all the knives went to. They were kind of bought by a company called Sterling, who sell the blanks, unground, no blade, ground with a blade, sell them in bunches of 3, 10, 1,000, and this is 440 stainless steel. And I thought, I'm going to get one of them. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it, but I'm going to get one of them, even if it's for posterity. So I did. I bought one. And I looked at it, and I saw the blog online by Paul Kirtley, and I watched other people who've bought them and done things with them, and I instantly thought, I don't like any of them ideas at all. I think it's an absolute expensive way to buy the thing in bits. Even though I did push out for the handle and I did push out for the scabbard, but at the time that was like £14. The blade was somewhere along, I don't know, 40 maybe, or something like that. Well worth it, considering the knife in its entirety, with scabbard, handle, pommel nut, guard, blade, survival kit, box, it trumps in at something like £490, and is most certainly a collector's item now. And who wouldn't want to pay £500 to get it in their collection? Is, you know, of course you would if you're a serious collector and you've got the money. Absolutely go for it. As much as I'm doing this, if I had the £500 to buy the knife, I would buy the knife. And I would still do this, don't get me wrong, because this kind of thing is what's in people's nature, right? Some people like to play with the toys. I'm one of them. Even here next to me, I've got the Breezer Kephart blade from Heine. Again, not paid by Heine. I just thought for £44 that is a quality bit of steel, and I'm going to look forward to putting a handle on it and having what I think is a little piece of history with another piece of history. You know, It's all good. It's all good. But back to this magnificent beast. A lot of people seem to be putting replacement nuts on, basically. So it's like they put the handle on and they make their own nut. Now this handle, you may notice, is a little bit different to the handle that you can buy. It goes on like that, and that's because it was longer, more came down further at the front, and had a hole here, so it like kind of offset the handle at an angle. And what happens is that goes in, your survival tube goes in there, your handle slides on, all this is covered. This comes forward and the locking nut screws in and pushes the handle on it. You've got the finger guard here which came down, protect your finger, locking nut, extra long handle. Job's a good one. People were like welding this in, filling it in, didn't need it, didn't fancy the survival knife element of it. Were putting pommels on, putting their own pommels on, grinding it off and just putting a wood or handle and pinning it through. No, that's fine. That's fine. I've seen one where someone's had a scabbard built for them and they've had a separate guard made for this. They have to clip on to put in the scabbard. The original scabbard doesn't need any of that, because it's solid ABS plastic, so it's all good to go. There you go. Amazing scabbard for what is potentially an amazing knife. Brass wire goes here, fishing line goes here, and it slides in a hanger. Looks great, yeah. What's not to like? What's not to like? Apart from the weight. It is an absolute monster. What that weighs is insane. That's one of the heaviest knives I've ever felt in my life. When you think about the bushcraft knives, which is basically like the Kephart blade, like Horace Kephart bimbling around the Alpatian woods with essentially that blade with an oak handle on, and he felt confident in skinning animals, whittling stuff, surviving. Great, happy days. We've got to remember though, the remit for this knife has always been different. It's to carry as much stuff and be able to do as many things in one knife as you can. And at some point during that period of time when this knife was at its heyday, they seemed intent on building a knife that had a heavy front and was basically some kind of chopping monster, chopping away. Then they thought, oh well, we had a blade at the front that can do a bit of skinning too, but we'll have more control of the blade, so we'll put that thumb rest there, which is, yeah, great, control of the blade, yeah. Let's make it so we can control it like a chef's knife. Let's cut out this. So let's make this really sharp indent for the fingers so you can choke up right on the blade to really get in there for them cuts. But not with this weight. Not even a Victorian butcher's knife, which is a bit longer, had the same kind of front and cut up a bit like a mini machete, is as heavy as this absolute beast. And a lot of people will go on to say that, oh well, survival and bushcraft all about batting and wood. Not that it's all about batting and wood. In a survival situation, maybe not going around chopping up stumps and battling wood, maybe just collecting wood would be enough. The ability to scrape the tinder and the kindling together, and maybe just dead wood would be enough. You don't have to go batting and everything. But having said that, this was, in my opinion, an absolute faux pas. Why on earth? See, doesn't cut that way. Scrape your fingers along more than happily. Does absolutely nothing. Go the other way. Absolute mayhem. Each one of them sharper than a Havilon blade. So sharp. And that would equate to the pull stroke, not the forward stroke. Now anyone who's used a Japanese saw like a Ryobi or a Dozuki knows that a pull stroke is quite an efficient stroke. You get a lot of control over the blade, but the teeth are different. There's more teeth per square inch, they're a lot closer, they're a lot smaller. These are huge. There's not a lot of teeth per square inch, and on the pull stroke it will do nothing but drag. Drag, 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 drag. Doesn't move. You can push, and it might saw something hard like wood, but then drag. Saw, drag, saw, drag. Absolutely pointless. So in my opinion, you've got to decide, what do I want this knife to be? Anyone who buys a blank will come up with something different, and many people have. I think the best versions of what they are online is some kind of African game skinner, and maybe that's the way forward for it, but I intend to turn this into something. I intend to turn it into everything. I'm going to make it a plausible bushcraft knife. I'm going to make it a competent survival knife. And I'm going to make it even, because that's kind of like where it comes from, where my obsession comes from for this. I'm going to make it a plausible fighting knife as well. I'm going to keep the point on it so that it could do someone harm. I'm going to keep the weight down and make it so that it can be a bushcraft knife. And I'm going to keep the kit in it, or find a way to put the kit in that indent so that it still can be the survival knife that it's meant to be. Now I don't know if I'm ever going to get to the point where I'm going to put the brass for the snares and the fishing line for here, but this scabbard is it's one of the best ones that you're going to get for this blade. Yeah, you can make it out of leather and it's going to look, fantastic, but why? Why would you need to change this? So I'm going to find a way in these series of videos to adapt this and make it work somehow. Possibly leather, possibly plastic, maybe a 3D printer, I don't know yet. But this stays. This stays. The weight stays down. There's no need to add leather over it. This stays, but it will get some kind of frog or hanger made out of plastic or leather, where that's where it fits into, and this is where the knife goes. There's going to be some way, and I'll find it, and we'll find it together.